Gosh. Hi, guys.
Good to
Welcome
see you.
to Good to see you. Welcome to the podcast for Affirmations for Black Men. I have a very special guest today. I have Dwight Davis here, who's running for city council in Washington,
Yes.
D.C., but also someone special to me in my heart. I'm so excited because I feel like you were a father figure for me and you stepped
Oh,
in
thanks, Nick.
when I lost my dad. You were one of the people that I really looked up to. You were responsible. I would say just like you have this like aura about you that almost
Mhm.
feels like kingly, and
Oh,
I just
thank you, Nick.
so happy
Yeah.
to expose you to my audience. So feel free to introduce yourself to everybody here.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. My name is Dwight Davis. I am a native Washingtonian, born and raised here in the city, product of the District of Columbia Public Schools. I am also the first in my family to actually attend and graduate college. The first male in my family to graduate high school on time, and the first in my family to receive any type of advanced degree. So I'm truly a trailblazer in that respect. But I'm also the father of four beautiful young men, Dwight Jr., Desmond Daniel, and Donovan. And I like to call myself Nicole's godfather, if you will. Nicole is an extraordinary young lady who I've had the privilege to watch grow up, and I'm just so proud of her.
Oh my gosh, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm proud of you. I tell people all the time, like, I feel like I am who I am because of my community. And you're
Yes.
such a big part of that. But I want to start off the conversation and get right into it and just like ask
Okay.
you your why. Like, you're running for city council in DC. And, after I've seen you as an educator this entire time and
Yes.
a student. So, what is encouraging you to run for office right now?
Yeah, and thank you for the question. Leadership, right? So in DC, um, DC is a place where people who do not live here actually have more control over our budget and our laws than we do. And that is not democracy, right? And the elections that are taking place right now will set the stage for DC for the next 20 years. So this is a very important time for strong leadership. And for over 22 years, I have been an educator working with the community, um, working with people, listening to families, listening to students, listening to business owners and community-based organizations. And we've been working together to figure out what the community needs, right? And that is the type of leadership that we need on the city council. We need elected officials who will host oversight meetings within the community so that community members can actually lift their voice and not have to go downtown when they have to feed their children and do other things, right? Um, we need a leadership that is community oriented, that will bring about the changes that our constituents need. The last thing I'll say, Nicole, is this: in DC and in many other major cities, there has been a systematic divestment in the youth, right?
Mm.
So many young people here in DC, when they get out of school at about 3:30, there are no activities from them from 3:30 until about 7. That's when most things happen. So we need to invest in the youth, we need to take care of our seniors, and we need to work to make our city more affordable. So that's why I'm running, because there are so many disparities that we need to address, and we just need new leadership.
Yeah, and speaking of leadership, like I feel like social media is so powerful and like I
Yes.
got really lucky because like I had you as one of my role models. I saw that you were
Sure.
responsible, you're a man of your word and like everything, you know what I mean? That's like a big thing for me now.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh. It's like, see, it sounds simple, but it's not. And
Right.
I feel so bad because there's not a lot of father figures online that are like representing. And so that's why I was really excited to have you on the podcast because I just wanted
Oh,
to like
thank you.
seek your advice and like just
Yes.
ask a couple questions for the young men who are transitioning from, young manhood to trying to get to dating and fatherhood. And I feel like so many people kind of emphasize like being a good father and being a good man, like it's like provision or provide and have money, and like everyone's like really
Right.
focused on that. But
Yeah.
I've seen incredible men, you know, have like more of a full foundation of these other things. So outside of needing money and being a good leader and being a good father figure, what else do you think that you bring to a table as a man?
For, as a man in general, as a man, as a husband, as a man, like so,
As a,
like,
I guess like, have you ever heard, you know, you've heard the songs where they're like, spend that, like all these like ratchet songs, they like spend that, spend that shit. Like
right?
everybody, all the women are focused on money, and I'm just trying to like reframe everybody and be like, you could like men of character, for example,
Yes,
is like
sure, sure.
super important,
Yeah,
and we just talked about
yeah,
man of their word. So like
yeah,
as like you have a young son I just met with Isaiah, and like as like
yeah.
they're navigating life, like what other things should they prioritize outside
Sure,
of
sure,
finances?
sure. So here's what I will say, right? And this is a conversation I've had with. Uh, it's funny, in different ways. I've had the same conversation with all my sons, and that is you have to prioritize your mental health and your mental stability, right? You have to understand that you are enough. And if I'm talking to men, right, I will talk to them the same way that I'm talking to my son, right? And that is, you are enough, right? Like, you shouldn't have to feel like you have to spend a whole bunch of money to be worthy in someone's eyes. Because the fact that you are alive, the fact that you are here, you are worthy, you are enough. And that's what I teach my sons. Um, and for me personally, right? I've been a principal for about I was a principal for about 8 years, right? And the entire time that I was in leadership, I was going to therapy, right? Because therapy is an important part of my development, right? Because I need stability. Sure, I go to church every Sunday, Nicole. You know I love the church. I love God. At the same time, there is, as Black men and Black women, we face so many microaggressions, so much ill will by virtue of us just being Black, that we really need to have a reliable other that we can talk to and process and think about certain things, right? And when you have that person that you can call and talk to and say, "Hey, I'm really feeling insecure," right? I really like this person, because real talk, I really like this person. She's very attractive. I don't think I measure up. So I feel like I need to spend a whole bunch of money. What do you think? Right? Because I see it with my sons, right? I'm like, no, you don't have to spend a lot of money, right? Here are the questions that you need to ask this person. Like, hey, what are your goals? Um, does this person know that you want to be an engineer and that you want to go to school to be an engineer and that you're sacrificing now is this person willing to sacrifice with you, right? Um, because when you know and understand that you are enough, you don't necessarily feed into that, right? And I would say the same is true with women as well, right? Like, if, like, for you, right? I never want Nicole to think that she needs somebody to take care of her,
Mm.
because Nicole is a beautiful, intelligent um, woman who can take care of herself. And that's not to disparage men in any way, but you are enough too. And the goal is to have a young lady who knows that she's enough and a young man that knows that he's enough, and for those two to come together. And that is magical, right? Um, so I do I do listen to I hear my younger sons listen to the songs. And what I'm saying to them is like, hey man, listen, you are enough. Like, focus on your goals for now. Like, all of that other stuff will come. And I hope I'm answering your question, Nick.
Yeah, but I feel like a part of like leadership or what is being like sold in society right now is men
Mhm.
being providers. And then
Yeah.
meanwhile, this is like the hardest economy that,
Yeah.
you know, that I've experienced in my lifetime as an adult. And I just like got out of a date with someone last week. And then that was like
Mhm.
his main insecurity was like, you know, I don't have a house. Like
Yeah.
I can't offer you anything.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so I kind of just like love that answer of like, hey, you are enough as a whole, and then like, do you want to have someone who wants to build with you? because leadership isn't just like provision.
Yeah,
And
no, but
yeah.
if I may say something real quick, now listen, you in particular, black women, you all are the most educated, and you all are very successful, right? Like black women are the bomb, right? Like I have a black woman in my house who I love, so I know, like, and I love you too. But and it can be intimidating, right? So I'm not saying that the young men or the men are wrong, right? But the fact still remains, like black women are powerful. You're educated, right? You're ambitious, right? You're doing a lot of things. That doesn't mean to lower your standards in any way, right? But for my sons, I want them to know that no matter what the circumstance, you are enough.
Well, what do you see in your district, black men struggling with the most? Since I know
Oh,
I'm in Philly and I see over here, like I do think that there is a way that like employment, people try to empower each other through making more money. Like this
mhm,
is the second most impoverished city in the country. So I
mhm.
do know that employment and finances is important. And then you said mental health is important. So over
Yes,
there in Washington D.C., what do you think that, because this is like one of the most financially thriving cities for black men in the country, if not the number one. So
yes.
what do you guys struggle with?
Well, for some, it is, the most economically thriving area, but for others, it's very different. So I'm going to give you a perspective from someone who's been in education for over 20 years, and that is, education has to be our number one priority. Um, Most recently, I was teaching in the middle school in DC, and I taught a class of eighth graders that were reading at least five grade levels below. I had sixth and seventh graders who did not understand the basic multiplication algorithm or division algorithm, right? So even though we live in this utopian bubble, if you will, politically, there are tremendous disparities. And DC is broken into 8 wards, 1 through 8. And the wards that are most ignored are Ward 7 and Ward 8. I grew up in Ward 4 and Ward 5, two of the wards that do, pretty well. But I have been committed to serving all of DC, and particularly our communities that have been overlooked. And I would say that what we really need in DC um, are high performing schools in every ward. Because when a child has a strong foundation, when a child is able to go into a school community where that child feels love, is encouraged, has activities and programming that follows them from elementary all the way through high school, that is a confident, ambitious, um, successful individual. And right now, DC, we're dealing with what we've been terming teen takeovers, and that is young people, between the times of like 8 and 10, are going to certain areas in the city, and negative things are happening. And we really need to invest in programming to ensure that our young people have the programming that they need in order to be successful. Um,
Wow.
so that's what's happening in DC right now.
I'm so happy you said that because I just came from a high school with a couple juniors and they didn't know like basic multiplication. This is public school in Philadelphia. Your
Yes,
junior in high school, and it was like, x squared. It was like a table for x squared, which is like the simplest multiplication problems that you will find.
sure,
And
sure,
none of the entire class like understood that level of
right,
basic math. So the fact
right,
that you're telling me that DC is experiencing similar issues
yes,
is
yes.
really scary because what do you think is going to happen to the black community if we, because this is mostly what I'm seeing with black kids, as that's who I'm watching. What's going to happen to us if we don't catch up?
Well, uh, some would argue that the system is doing exactly what it was designed to do, and that is leave black and brown children behind. And this is why I am advocating. It's kind of like, you said, why am I running? Because the leadership today, the officials that we elect today have a critical role of ensuring that our cities are future ready and strong. I love what the mayor of Baltimore is doing, right? Say, I'm going to invest in the youth, right? He's preparing Baltimore for the future. Um, and a child who cannot read at third grade is a child who's fast tracked for the prison industrial system, right? They call it the school to prison pipeline. We've known this. We've known this research. Like Dr. Jawanza Kunjufu wrote about this many, many, many years ago, right? We know what happens when we do not educate children well, and we continue to see that Black children in particular are not being educated well.
Yeah, and it's really quite scary because I feel like they're pulling back a lot of our rights. And then you have like the iPad kids and you have people who are addicted to their phone. And then so I actually applied. I don't know if I told you, I applied for graduate school at Temple University. So wish me luck, guys. I'm gonna see if I get in. But one of the things that I want to do, like my thesis, is like focus on restorative media because I
Uh,
feel like restoration in media
yes,
and like kind of that intertwines with affirmations for Black men is using my platform to help restore people's mental. I feel like the education system, for example, they keep trying to reach people in the classrooms, but if maybe 16 hours of the kids' time is spent on their phone,
that's
maybe
right.
it's better to try to reach them where they spend the majority of their time.
Yes,
Um,
yes,
so I really want to like kind of blend that into there, and I'm just so happy that I really wanted this conversation to be focused on leadership and fatherhood. But a big part
sure.
of fatherhood is like welcoming in that next generation
That's
to that success line, so that way we know we're passing the totem pole because what we're leaving them with right now is like really sad and depressing. And Philadelphia, I think we closed like 16 schools in the past like 4 months. And so
wow.
I kind of like, I'm at the point where I kind of feel like a loss of hope. So I
Mhm.
wanted to kind of piggyback onto you. Like, what are you hopeful for? What do you think we should do or to kind of progress us forward as a community in this space?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want you to lose hope, right? Because many, 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 many years ago, right, there were our ancestors who had to endure the most horrific conditions and circumstances that we could ever imagine, and they got on their knees at night and they prayed with tears in their eyes that you would be where you are right now and that I could be where I am right now. So the tears of our ancestors, the hopes and dreams of our ancestors continue to carry us. We are in a moment where I honestly feel like we need the entire community to be more actively engaged in our school systems, in our democracy. Like as I'm on this campaign trail, I'm hearing a lot of apathy, and now is not the time for apathy. Now is the time to be truly engaged, right? One of the things that we are seeing in DC is that our seniors they feel invisible. Um, Many of our seniors are dealing with increasing costs. Let me give you an example. Um, my grandmother and grandfather raised me, and when I was growing up, maybe my grandmother and grandfather had to get a new roof on the house every 30 years. Now it's every 10 years. They had to
Mm,
get a hot water heater every 20 years. Now it's every 10 years, right? So an elder or a senior who's retiring, they may be able to maintain, but their ability to sustain is now different because now they're retired. They have the money that they need for the next month. But if the water heater goes out, or if they need to get a new roof, or something bad happens, that will wipe them totally out, right?
yeah.
So these are some of the issues that we are dealing with in DC. And in addition to that, we have many young people, as we said, who are reading well below grade level. And what we need to do is we need to find ways to fill the gap. And I'm going to tell you a quick story so we can move on to affirmations and fatherhood. And that is, when I was a teacher, a fifth grade teacher in the classroom, there was a program that brought seniors into the classroom, and I had the privilege of working with Grandma McDonald. And Grandma McDonald, at the time, she was in her 70s, and she lived across the street from the school. And many of my students either didn't have a mother or a father. It was all my many of my students were single, came from single parent homes. But having Grandma McDonald in the classroom and myself in the classroom created this beautiful community where children receive the nurturing from an older generation, and they had me, a more hip, individual. They had the, the sternness of a father figure, and they had the warmth and love of a grandmother, right? And this also provided an opportunity for Grandma McDonald to have additional income, right? So we have to think innovatively about our seniors who feel left out and our young people who feel left behind, and bring the young folk and our seniors together in these beautiful ways, right? Like Grandma McDonald walked across the street, and Nicole, it got to the point where Grandma McDonald would say to the children, right, every few weeks or so, "Hey, y'all need to be quiet because I'm trying to learn my math lesson," right? So it even taught the children that Grandma is so invested in this education thing that she's learning with us, right? And it sent such a powerful message to them that this education thing is important. So, like, we have everything that we need, right? We need to, like, push the apathy away. We need to find ways to bring the young and our seniors together in very powerful ways. And I think one of the mechanisms that we can do this is within the school. We can also do this within the community. We can utilize recreation centers. I'm confident in Philly, there are community based organizations that have been doing this work for years. How do we connect those organizations to schools, right? So that this work can happen in a more full way. And yeah,
Well, I also feel like we're like the back to the leadership, like the Malcolm X's of a time, and the Martin Luther Kings of a time. It's like there's no one. I feel like our community is used to having someone lead us, and then like there's all these imperfections of these men that have come out, or like they're the media will try to kind of like target them, or bring them down, and so anyone who kind of steps up in that position, there's a specific type of spotlight. So are you nervous, like as you step into the spotlight, that people are going to like kind of look at your life through a microscope? Are there any like insecurities that you might have as you are like walking down this path?
yeah. Listen, we all have insecurities, right? Like, if anybody tells you they don't have insecurities, they're lying to you. Like, we
Yeah.
all have insecurities. Uh, what's also, what I believe is also true, is that people are going to always tear you down, right? Like, people are always looking for what's wrong with you. And we all got something, right? That we are dealing with, wrestling with. But I'm not afraid, because if I do if listen, I believe that the universe has given everyone a gift, right? That still small voice, like for you in this podcast, it started with a still small voice. And I remember when you first started, right? You had a little thing over here, a little thing over there, right? You had one good guess, and then you had to wait a little while, then you had another, right? But but God gave you that that desire, that vision, right? And it's scary. Like, Nicole, this is the most difficult thing I've ever done in my life,
Mm,
because I I didn't know as much as I needed to know about politics. Um, but I heard a strong call, Dwight, you need to be in this race. The children need you fighting, the seniors need you fighting, right? Your leadership is required at this moment. And, you know, I'm I'm afraid, like, I read this book, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway, right? And so in life, right, if you want to attain anything successful, right, you gotta go and take your fear with you, right? Playing basketball overseas, that was scary, right? Going to college for me, that was scary. All my life, I've been pushed to do things that I've never done before, and I've felt fear, I felt anxiety, but I took my fears with me. So yes, I'm nervous, yes, I want to win, yes, I'm afraid, all of that, but you know what, I'm running my race. I'm doing all that I can. I'm out every day meeting constituents, because that's what it requires, right? You just
mm,
have to put yourself out there.
mm. And
Yeah,
what do you think you bring to the table that's like more unique than the people that you're running against?
sure. So let me just say this. Like, I think everyone who's running, like anyone who's running in a race, whether you like them or not, it requires a lot of courage to put yourself out there, right? Because you like, because of my wife's work, we have been very private, and I wasn't big on social media, right? But now I have to put myself out there in front of thousands of people. And it is, it has been so tough, Nicole. Um, but this is what it is, right? Yeah. So tell me the question again. I think I lost the question thinking about
Oh,
that.
I was just saying, like, I feel like what you bring to the table that's unique
Oh
is
yeah,
like,
it was different. Okay, I got
yeah,
you. I'm sorry, Nicole. Yeah.
you're one of the most
So
genuine people I've ever met. So like I think like, I need more of you. Our community needs more of you, but I kind of wanted to
yes.
hear it from your own mouth, like
Yeah.
kind of what
Yeah.
makes
No. No. No.
you different.
I got you. What I was saying is everyone who's in this race, they are phenomenal people, like really, really, really good people with great experiences. I think what makes me different is the fact that I have been in the community, working with the community, developing policies, doing oversight, managing a budget, right? Working with the community-based organizations, working with the business community. Like I've been doing all of this work across the city, right? Like many of my opponents have been working within government, right? I have, and to a certain extent, I have been working within government within the schools, but I have been interfacing with the community the entire time. So when we
Mm,
talk about, you know, how are you going to make sure that our needs are met? Well, listen, when you're a principal of a school, you know, the children are my consumer, right? So if I'm not taking care of them, I don't have a job, right? So this has been the work that I've been doing, and I feel like sometimes we don't truly understand the work of school administration, right? Because if we understood fully how much how political the principalship is, when someone from an education background ran, I think we would give them a little bit more credence, if you will. So I think what separates me is my leadership, and how long I've been working with communities thus far.
amazing. And then I want to kind of end the podcast by reading the comments. We have a couple comments here
Oh,
from the
sure, sure.
live. Yeah, so we have Mark who commented a couple times. Hey, Mark. Oh, two Marks, actually. They're two different people.
Okay.
So I think they're commenting on based on what you said. Mark said, once you know who you are and understand yourself, it's easy for you to
Mhm.
know that you are enough. And looking for
Yeah,
validation from others does not bring you peace. And I
agreed.
really appreciate that, Mark. Thank you so much. And then he also said, we as Black parents and educators have to spend more time communicating with and making genuine human connections instead of relying solely on computers to educate our people, do the research, and educate them on what they needed in community. And a couple people are saying hello and thank you. So thank you guys
Okay.
so much for your comments. I just wanted to acknowledge you and take a minute. But for the Black men out there who are watching, who are looking to be fathers, who are fathers, who are
Mhm.
managing a lot of the insecurities that you're talking about, and who kind of feel a little bit hopeless, do you have anything to say to them as we enter this new world where people are attacking us, where there's a lot of
Mhm.
apathy? Like, I don't feel like I can really make a difference, just
Mhm.
me feel lonely. What would you
Mhm.
say to the Black men watching now?
Like your presence matters, right? And I like what Mark said, because the longest journey is going from the head to the heart. And Mark is absolutely right. Once you know who you are, like there's nothing that can stop you. But making that journey from knowing who you are here and making it click here, that is the work. And that is the work of that's why I'm in therapy all the time. And what I would say to them is your presence is so important. And I know we have to end, but my father and um, I didn't know my dad my first 24 years, and we met when I was 24. And the next 27 years that we spent together before he passed were the greatest, right? He didn't think his presence was important,
Mm,
but I could not move forward without his presence, right? So for every father who is in a situation and you feel like you're not enough, or you feel like your child doesn't need you, or you don't feel like you matter so much. Because when I met my dad, it fundamentally changed me, and it fundamentally changed the way in which I interacted with my boys. So every Black man, every Black woman, you matter.
wow. That's so important and special, Dwight. Thank you so much because I think a lot of men can relate to feeling like they made a bunch of mistakes from and
Hmm.
feeling insecure, like they can't come back from those mistakes, especially sometimes as a father, and they feel like maybe they're better off without me. So I think that's a really good point. And just to sum up the conversation, I know we're at our 30-minute mark here. I'm going to go over a little bit over, but to sum up what we were
Okay.
talking about is Dwight is running for city council, but what I really appreciate about the conversation is your desire to connect the youth and the education and then our older demographic, a lot of
Mhm.
people who are just kind of left behind or not thought about. And creating that bridge, I think, is really important for our community. And we talked a lot about apathy. We all really need each other to kind of galvanize, especially now. And whether that's
Mhm.
you're registered to vote, which is really important. So
Yes,
whether you're or encouraging other people to register to vote, so that way we can actually make the changes that we need to make and have
that's
the
right.
people in office that actually care about us, that actually care about making the decisions that need to be made so we can improve as a community. And we're not going to just sit here and give up or feel like, our life isn't worth anything or it doesn't mean anything. Because, I'm going to say my affirmation to the Black man listening: your life means something, your vote matters.
Hmm.
And then who you put in office matters. I know this isn't supposed
That's
to
right.
be like too much of a political space, but I'm here
Sure.
talking to Black men, helping other Black men, reach the right people and reach the right audience because, like, I'm kind of sick of what's happening and what's going on. And I feel like, with this platform, I'm going to do what I can to make the difference and make the change. And then, so my last question to Dwight, so we can kind of sum it up and wrap it up,
Yeah.
is what is your vision for our community? Kind of like almost like Martin Luther King, he had a dream and we're all living in
Sure.
Martin's dream. And if you could have like a vision of what you want to see for us, what would it be?
Oh man, that's such a great question, Nicole. I think I want for our community, um, what what I'm trying to provide, what my wife and I are trying to provide for our boys, right? Number one, high quality education, right? Like that, you know, that you get the best of the best of the best education, right? Like that you are taught by people who love you, who care for you, who push you, who challenge you, who pick you up when you fall down. Um, that there are individuals who are not just caring for your intellectual development, but they're caring for your psychological development. Um, and that that our young people, our older, that they live in environments where they are truly valued, right? Where when they walk down the street, people look at them and smile and just give them an affirmation. You are beautiful. You look good today, right? Um, because that is a healing balm that heals so many wounds, and I feel like that is what's missing in our society is that oftentimes because of perceptions of who black and brown people are, right? Like we get a lot of negative energy. And if my vision is a world where people are loved and valued just because of who they are. And if I may, because I know this is about affirmations, one of the things I was thinking about is I wanted to share some of the affirmations that I share with my son. So they're basically four, right? I have four boys, and so for my eldest son, ever since he was 2 years old, we would say, "Hey, Isaiah, you're a great young man, and you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you." And I gave him that affirmation because when he was born, I was in college, and it was in Pennsylvania. So Isaiah didn't see a lot of people who look like him. So it was important that I reinforced to him that, hey, you are enough. You can do all things. You are great. And for Desmond, you know Desmond very well, Nicole. Desmond is very confident, sometimes a little bit overconfident. And what I had to teach him was, hey, listen, we don't get too high when things are going well, and we don't get too low when things are going bad, right? Because God is always with us. For Daniel, and for many of the individuals on this podcast, you may be involved in sports or something, right? The work is where you prove yourself, right? The work will the work that you put in, it will show your greatness. The work is in the greatness, right? So just keep on working on yourself, right? Just keep on working on yourself. Keep on pushing to be a better version of yourself, and it will show itself. And then for my last son, Donovan, Uh, Donovan is my youngest. He's 10. And you would think that this would be something I would be saying to my eldest, but it's what I have to say to my youngest son. So because he is the iPad, iPhone, he doesn't even know. So funny story. I had a CD, back in the day we had CD players. You actually put the CD in and the CD. So I gave him one of those just to see what he would do. And he started swiping it. And he was like, Dad, this thing is broke. It doesn't work, right? But what I have to say to Donovan is like, Donovan, you have to take care of yourself. Like, stop. Like, no, you want to run, stop. Take care of yourself. Like, take a
Mm,
breath, drink some water. Hey, go get your asthma pump, right? Like, slow down and take care of yourself. And for everyone, like, even you and I, Nicole, we're always busy. We really have to be intentional about slowing down and taking care of ourselves, because there are far too many stories about someone who's 40, 50, 35 passing of a heart attack. We really got to take care of ourselves. So,
man. Oh man, that's beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Dwight, for coming today. I hope that we can have more conversations. And
yeah,
thank you
same here.
guys for coming on live. Thank you, Ronald. Blessings, family, powerful. We appreciate you. And I will see you next week at 4 o'clock. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube and Facebook. And have a nice day, guys.
Thanks,
Bye.
Nicole.
And that is it. It stopped the live recording. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
No problem, Nick. It still says